All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I've got some fun stuff lined up for you in my top 5. A little sports heavy this time, but just get ready for it, okay? We're talking Colin Kaepernick, still trying to get back into the NFL. We've got Lyles, who just won't stop running his mouth. And, of course, the controversy surrounding Jordan Chiles' medal. JJ McCarthy's season-ending injury. That is just freaking brutal. And so now the Vikings turning to Sam Darnold. Plus, I got a little UFC 305 preview for you. Israel Adesanya and Plessis in the battle for Africa. Then I'm talking to the man who underwent a knee BL. You heard me right, a knee BL, an $80,000 knee lengthening surgery to go from 5'5" to 6 foot even. All right, let's get started. The Olympics officially ended this week with the USA taking home a total of 126 medals. Clap, clap, clap. But it would have been 127 if American gymnast Jordan Chiles wasn't stripped of her bronze for her floor exercise, and it was no fault of her own. And if you've been following the story, you know that. So you've been following it, so you know that Jordan initially scored a 13.666, putting her in 5th place, which would have most likely meant Romania's Ana Barbosu would take bronze. But Jordan's coach put in a skill inquiry to the judges following the posting of her score because they felt like it was a 10th too low. It was for the tour jeté full leap that Jordan performed. They're looking at that like, hey, this is a pretty difficult routine. Can you take that into account? So the judges reviewed it and they agreed to credit her skill and bumped her score a 10th higher from 13.666 to 13.7666. Small difference, but that got her to clinch the bronze. So here's what happened afterwards, right? Romania filed an appeal arguing that Jordan Chiles' inquiry was late by 4 seconds. So here's the thing. Teams get 1 minute to inquire after a performance and the score is posted, okay? So they're saying 4 seconds too late. This is what Romania is arguing. And that their gymnast, then Ana Barbosu, should have actually gotten the bronze. And this is well after Jordan has, been on the podium, received the medal, wearing it around her neck, partying with it, all of that good stuff, as she should. So Romania's been busy. They appealed actually another judge's decision for another one of their gymnasts who had 1/10 deducted from her score for going out of bounds. But here's the thing. In the video replay, you can see that she didn't. And so the Court of Arbitration, they dismissed that one, out of bounds, whatever, we don't know. But they upheld Barbosu's appeal. And that's the one that cost Jordan the medals. And this is a bit sloppy, to say the least, okay? And first of all, why would the judges allow an inquiry if the time had passed, if that was even the case? And here's the kicker, really. USA Gymnastics has sent video evidence of the inquiry showing that they inquired 47 seconds after Jordan's score was posted, followed then by a second statement 55 seconds later. Here's what the Court of Arbitration said, and they're the body responsible for the appeal, all of this. They said, quote, their rules do not allow for an arbitral award to be reconsidered even when conclusive evidence is presented. Heart-wrenching. This has never happened before. I mean, people do get stripped of medals, but that's because they cheated or they were doping, things like that. Jordan Chiles is an elite athlete, and her only crime was knowing her performance was more difficult than the judges gave her credit for. So what now? This traumatic moment just cemented in gymnastics history? I mean, yeah, Jordan still has a gold, team gold, all of that, but it's just like, come on, man. You work that hard, you deserve all of the accolades that come with it. It's very sad. The decision should have been final when the judges made it, and I just wonder why the arbitration court refuses to see new evidence, but actually grant an appeal to Romania with no evidence. Extremely unfair, and I think the people who serve on the panel, they shouldn't be serving in 2028. So before we close out on the Olympics, this guy, Lyles. Yeah, okay, so last week I wagered he'd take gold in the 200. He didn't. He got bronze on August 8th. After the race, as you know, he claimed he tested positive for COVID 2 days prior and still decided to run, which isn't great for 2 obvious reasons, one of which the possibility of infecting other people. And 2, it gives you an excuse as to why you didn't take cold, and that I can't stand. It's not champion-like. And you know what? A lot of boxers do the same thing. I remember Wilder, he said, I don't know if my water was tainted or my costume was too heavy and it fatigued him, Pacquiao, I remember when he fought Mayweather, and I know we got a lot of Pacquiao fans out there, but I really didn't like this because I think Pacquiao, for the most part, he's a pretty honorable fighter, but after he fought Floyd and lost, then he's like, oh, I was held back by a shoulder injury. And all these things could be true. I'm not trying to discredit anybody. These are people who are at the top levels of their sports, but it just makes you look like a sore loser, and no one is going to feel sorry for you, especially Lyles, after you won the 100 and then you were tweeting out, I've got asthma, allergies, dyslexia, anxiety. what's your excuse? You know what I mean? But it didn't stop me. It shouldn't stop you. Like, I get it. And then, of course, he's got to come out with a statement. And this happened on August 10th when he said, "Thank God I am COVID free." And then he's seen later at a club in Paris partying the night away, which led a lot of people to be like, yeah, so which one is it, bro? Like, COVID free, you got COVID. What's really going on here? And as you can imagine, the comment sections went crazy on him, okay? So this guy said, "Oh, wow, your COVID recovery was faster than your 200-meter run." You know, that's Noah Lyles, though. He's always got a lot to say. The world's fastest man, he likes to talk. And back in June, he did just that to Time magazine in a cover story where he spoke about how he wanted his own shoe. And if you remember, after winning the 100-meter event, he said the same thing. He wants his own shoe. I get it. He should have his own shoe. And I think a lot of track and field athletes are definitely undervalued, and it's tough to make the living you feel like your talent amounts to, especially because the lifespan of, for example, being the fastest is usually pretty short. Okay, so you gotta get it while you're hot, and Noah isn't afraid to voice it. So when he was being interviewed by Time magazine earlier in the summer, I mean, he was in the middle of a contract extension negotiation with Adidas, and Adidas then invited him to a sneaker release party for Anthony Edwards, which, you know, it kind of pissed me off too, I guess. I'm like, bro, I want a sneaker, and then you invite me to this sneaker party for somebody else. Like, I'm not mad at him for that. So I guess what he said was, and those were basically his sentiments during the Time magazine interview. He said, quote, "You want to invite me to an event for a man who has not even been to an NBA finals in a sport that you don't even care about, and you're giving him a shoe? No disrespect. The man is an amazing athlete. He is having a heck of a year. I love that they saw the insight to give him a shoe because they saw that he was going to be big. All I'm asking is, how could you not see that for me?" And here's the thing, it's sometimes, as they say, it's not what you say, it's how you're saying it. Does Noah Lyles, does the world's fastest man deserve a shoe? Yeah, definitely. Is the NBA a bigger sport in the US than track and field? That is also true. But I do think Noah Lyles makes good points, but the way he does it by throwing other NBA players under the bus, it's just not a good look. And so here's the thing. So after all of this resurfaced, Noah Lyles took to Twitter this week to say that he didn't go to the Anthony Edwards sneaker release because of prior engagements and not because he didn't deserve it. And then he congratulates Anthony Edwards on actually becoming an Olympic athlete. Yes, as you know, men's basketball took gold at the Olympics this year, as they've done for the past several years. But it's kind of funny because it's like, you're like, yeah, congrats on being an Olympic athlete, being like me. And I don't know, it's kind of hilarious considering the critique of the NBA Finals last year, of course, where he famously said an NBA Finals championship is not a world championship, and then everybody lost their marbles about it. I feel like it was kind of an extra jab, you know, something about Noah Lyles and these NBA players. And I don't know if somebody snatched up his little boo thing or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why he has so much animosity, because there's a way to say things, especially if you know they're going to live on in perpetuity on the internet. And you say things about Anthony Edwards, like, you know, it's dismissive of him. And you could have circumnavigated all of that drama if you chose to, but he likes to go straight in. And you know what? Maybe it's working for him, because I guess all press is good press to some people. And so maybe it's working for him in the way that if you think of the NBA, maybe now you're thinking of Noah Lyles. And so maybe that's the way he's using it to elevate himself. I don't know. Because here's the thing. It's one thing to underline how track gets overlooked. And I don't mind anybody tooting their own horn. I never mind that, okay? Because sometimes you really have to. But Noah Lyles, he really just does it in a horrible way, upsetting people who would otherwise probably be cheering for him. I mean, who doesn't want to cheer for the world's fastest man, hailing from the United States of America? I mean, sometimes it takes a team lift for someone to get the spotlight they deserve. I could really see men's basketball supporting him, standing by him, adding to a spotlight, helping him to secure the deals he deserves. Instead, he's not only upsetting NBA players, but also NFL players who say they really can't stand him. Because he also said NFL champions aren't world champions last year. I mean, he just went in on everybody. And it was just last week that a Colts linebacker, Zaire Franklin, tweeted out, quote, "Noah Lyles is my least favorite American. Good morning." That's how he started off his morning, with violence. Like, I don't know. And of course, Tyreek Hill, being the cheetah, saying this.
Noah Lyles can't say nothing after what just happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Then he want to come out and pretend like he's sick. I feel like that's like horseradish. So for him to like do that and say that we're not world champions of like our sport, says like, come on, bro. Like, just speak on what you know about.
But NFL champions obviously technically aren't world champions, but get a grip, okay? Yeah, the Super Bowl winning team is dominating any team the world could serve up. And American football will get its chance to shine on the world stage in 4 years when flag football premieres in the Olympics. And it should be light work for America to take the gold, even with bench players, whatever. But as far as Tyreek saying he would smoke Noah Lyles in a race, and look, I love the cheetah, but he's smoking something with that take. You know, maybe in a world where he never played football and he worked purely to hone his running craft, then you know what? I could see Noah Lyles and him. That's a real rivalry. His personal best time for the 100 was 10.19 at age 18. Noah Lyles won the gold at 9.79, just 21 hundredths of a second off the world record set by Usain Bolt. It's just not happening. And you got to take it with a grain of salt, because back in 2022, if you remember, Kevin Hart asked Tyreek if he thought he was faster than Usain Bolt. If you remember what he replied, yeah, of course I am. And it was just last year, Tyreek actually raced in the 2023 USA Track and Field Masters Indoor Championships. That's for athletes who were 25 years and older, in the 60 meter. And he finished first with 6.7 seconds, but that still ranks him outside of the top 200 men who run the race, which is still pretty awesome, but it's really wild that he could think he could even just line up against the world's fastest man, even at the 200. I mean, that's Noah Lyles' best event. I don't know why he got bronze. I really think he should have got gold in that. Didn't happen, whatever, new day. But honestly, I think Tyreek just needs to worry about Finn's football and try to get them a playoff win for the first time in 24 years. But speaking of football, I hope your fantasy team hasn't drafted already. Oh man, lots of significant injuries this preseason. A big one, QB JJ McCarthy. Oh my goodness, he's going to miss his first NFL season because of a torn meniscus and it needing a full repair. A lot of people were hoping he'd just need a meniscus trim, which would have cost him about 3 to 4 weeks, and then have him right back on the field. But it was announced yesterday morning that would not be the case. So brutal. I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. I was definitely excited to see that McCarthy to Justin Jefferson. Oh my God, JJ to JJ. I knew it was going to be crazy. He was definitely giving me CJ Stroud vibes, but next year. You always have next year. We'll see. So anyway, some people are now worried about Justin Jefferson's fantasy value, and I'm curious to know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you definitely have to let me know. Personally, I think Justin Jefferson will still shine. He's probably the best wide receiver in the league, but I'm worried about Sam Darnold, okay? I'm just going to be honest. I'm worried about Minnesota Vikings QB Sam Darnold, okay? On the one hand, he has an epic opportunity at a redemption year. And I mean, this is definitely make or break for Sam. He hasn't really made a splash in the NFL, but I don't think it's fair to call him a scrub necessarily. I know a lot of Jets fans would beg to differ. But everybody thought he was going number 1 in the 2018 draft. You had to just be there, right? And he ended up being selected 3rd overall, got drafted to the Jets. His time there, inconsistent to say the least, but it wasn't always his fault. Come on, Jets fans, don't be so hard on your boy. Like, it wasn't always his fault. The Jets didn't give him a lot of offensive weapons. I mean, he didn't have a lot of excellent receiving targets or anything like that. I mean, he went through multiple offensive coordinators, staffing changes. But the moment many Jets fans, one of the moments, I'll say many Jets fans will never forget, was the first NFL pass he ever threw. Yeah, it was intercepted and then it was returned for a touchdown, and that just, oh boy, that just hits you somewhere. That could be a part of your identity forever. All right, and it's rough, less than ideal. Of course, then he gets traded to Carolina. Still not a lot to choose from at the time. I wish he got to do more with Christian McCaffrey, but I guess, a lot of injuries kind of kept that from really happening for them being the dynamic duo that they should have been. He actually looked better as a backup to Brock Purdy's Niners squad, and he beat out Trey Lance for the job. And so now he's got this 1-year, $10 million deal with the Vikings, all or nothing. And that's a hell of a lot of pressure, okay? But there aren't any excuses, if you ask me. There aren't any excuses this time. This is what you've been waiting for. JJ McCarthy was going to take that thing and run it, and you would never have gotten this opportunity. So I went on Twitter and was asking everybody, will Sam Darnold be the guy that the Minnesota Vikings need him to be this year? And I want to read you some of these tweets because they were actually really hilarious. And there were a lot of Jets fans, super jaded. Okay, so this guy posted a meme of Liam Neeson saying, good luck. I think that's from Taken or something. And this person here says, no, not if anyone's thinking he's going to lead the team to the playoffs. However, I doubt that anyone seriously had those expectations of the team anyway. This person right here saying the QB crisis also will put a strain on Justin Jefferson, and let's see if he'll be able to put up numbers and help carry the team. This guy here, Mr. B. Diddy, former Jets fan here, the answer is no. And this guy said, we about to have him seeing ghosts again in London. And I thought that was hilarious because I forgot that he said that. I forgot that Sam said that. It was like back in 2019, Monday Night Football up against the Patriots. They were getting murdered like 24-0. Darnold was mic'd up for the Jets, and you heard him saying, man, I'm seeing ghosts. And I guess that's the thing with quarterbacks, like, you know, when you're out on the field and you're seeing things and people to throw, and it's just like, it's just not good. Seeing ghosts is not a good thing, okay? They're not real players there. So it was all bad, and it sucks that that's on the internet and that lives on, but it was kind of funny that somebody recalled that. And so this person said, hell no. One person asked me, you trolling, right? You'll have to let me know if you're betting on Darnold for comeback player of the year. Let's switch gears now. Can we talk about Colin Kaepernick? Okay. So first things first, so you know where I stand. I believe Kaepernick, as an American, was wholly justified in using his platform to protest police brutality by kneeling during the anthem. I've said this on television, working on the news, in my tweets, and I will always stand on that. Now, over the years, we have seen problems within major sports organizations related to race. Revered coaches like John Gruden, who said despicable, racist, and homophobic things in emails, led to him being fired from the Raiders. Former Clippers owner Donald Sterling, they got a whole show about him now out there. I think it's called Clipped. Yeah, he was banned from the NBA for racist remarks and was sued by the U.S. Department of Justice back in 2006 for housing discrimination. He refused to rent apartments to black people, Hispanics, and this is something that's been happening to black people for the past 100 years and has cemented the segregation of this country. And when you have people with those kinds of beliefs at the helm of major sports organizations, I mean, that's an issue. I mean, there's a reason the Rooney Rule was put into effect, why it was necessary. And there's a reason that for so long there weren't any black quarterbacks, because the idea that a black man was not smart enough to lead a team was as pervasive then as it has been proven false today. And I know so many people are tired of hearing about race. Oh, race that, all that. But you know what? You got to grow up, because the ones who are tired of hearing it should take into account the people who are tired of living it and learn some history. Unless, of course, you live in states like Georgia, where they're actively getting rid of black history in schools. We're going to get to that in a later episode. But I just felt it was important, first of all, for you to know where I stand on those kinds of issues. Racism has been prevalent in NFL history, but I love watching football. Football season is my favorite time of year. I told you guys this last season, so two things can be true at once. They're not mutually exclusive. I can admit that there has been systematic racism in the NFL, but see that things are getting better and enjoy watching football. And so we have to come to terms with all of that. And I think that they will continue to get better as the years go on. But let's get back to Colin Kaepernick, because I'm confused, honestly. I'm confused by his actions, his desire to come back to an organization he likened to slavery plantations. Look, I understand that playing in the NFL is his life's dream. It's his life's work. And I can understand, I mean, how terrible it must have been and sickening to take a knee for what is right and then that costing you all of it, right? And I do believe after the protest that he should have had other opportunities to play in the NFL, backup, third string, whatever. I believe he had enough skills to at least sit on a bench somewhere. So you might remember he released a Netflix documentary. It's called Colin in Black and White. He describes his journey and all that's great, right? But then he had scenes in the documentary literally comparing the NFL Combine to how slave masters would analyze black slaves and their bodies to see who was the strongest slave for the job. And here's the thing, I mean, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Travis Kelce, I mean, all of these white players had to submit themselves to the same thing. I don't really get it, but whatever. I mean, he can draw whatever comparison he likes, so he has that right. But if that's how you feel, why would you want to go back? I mean, to go this far is basically calling the NFL irredeemable in your eyes. So why for almost a decade do you want back into slavery, back into the chains? And for the record, the NFL is not slavery because no one can force you to play football. That is a choice. The NFL, slavery was not a choice. Nobody can make you quarterback for the 49ers. Nobody can make you do that. And here's the thing, I would have appreciated Kaep maybe working alongside the NFL to improve communities who were most impacted by discriminatory policing. I would have preferred that, but I mean, to call it slavery and then to say recently that you're waiting for a team to call you. And now that it's been so long, no, it's not going to happen. I mean, maybe he could play in the Olympic flag football games of 2028, get a gold medal, or maybe he can join the XFL if he really wanted to play football. But at this point, I really don't know what point he's trying to make. Jim Harbaugh apparently said he talked to Kaep about joining the Chargers in a non-playing capacity recently, but Kaep told Sky Sports that he's still training. Yeah, he's still pushing for a return to the NFL. And Harbaugh said if he ever decided to do coaching, that Kaepernick would be tremendous at it. He'd be a tremendous coach, but it looks like that's not what he wants to do. And I really just don't understand why. I don't understand why you'd fight so hard to get back into an organization that you like into slavery. That's just how I feel. Let me know how you guys feel. All right, rounding out football with the AP preseason poll. My Jayhawks made it. Rock Chalk. Yeah, we're taking that number 22 spot, okay? That's our first appearance in 15 years, which is insane because last time KU was ranked in the AP and coaches poll, that was 2008. We were ranked 14, 13 respectively. So if that tells you anything, we are back, baby. Jalen Daniels, go on and lead us to greatness. That 2017, though, with Mark Mangino, won Big 12 Coach of the Year. I mean, those were really those KU glory days in recent years. KU had Aqib Talib, Super Bowl champ Chris Harris Jr., and then in 2008, basketball national champions. I mean, it was a little bit before my time at KU. But anyway, I want to hear your predictions, all things college football, what's grinding your gears, what you think of the new 12-team playoff format. I think I'll talk Colorado football next week too. Be ready for that. All right, but we're going to sew up my top 5 with a little UFC because this Saturday, UFC 305, we've got Israel Adesanya facing off against Dricus du Plessis for the battle for Africa to get his middleweight title back from Dricus du Plessis, Izzy being Nigerian, Dricus being South African. As you recall, Izzy lost his belt to Sean Strickland at UFC 287 last year in a unanimous decision. I never saw that coming. I don't know about you, but that was insane to me because Izzy, he just really didn't look prepared. I mean, he was on his back foot the whole time, and that is not the position you want to be in with Sean Strickland. I mean, Sean put that pressure on him. Plus, I mean, he's got some of the best defense in the UFC. I feel like Sean's whole idea is that the best defense is a great offense, and at times it really looked like Izzy did not have a plan for it. It really looks like he underestimated Sean altogether, and on no planet would I ever expect Izzy to win against Alex Pereira in April of last year, then turn around and lose to Sean Strickland. And I know totally different styles, but Alex Pereira, Chama? But Alex Pereira is like a juggernaut type fighter, and he's grown and he's expanded his skill set. And I feel like at this point, he looks nigh unstoppable. I really do want to see him fight John Jones. I really, really do. But I don't think Sean could beat Pereira. I think it's lights out, and I don't think it's even really close. So it's crazy that Adesanya won against him, then lost to Sean in the same year. I don't know. But anyway, back to 305. Both Izzy and Dricus' last fights were against Strickland. Izzy with the L, as I said, Dricus with the dub. So we'll see what's going to happen here. I mean, I'm going with my guy Izzy, okay? I think he's back for that redemption round to reclaim his middleweight title, so I'm really excited for it, and he's going to get this win for Nigeria. I want to hear you guys' predictions in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. And let me know what you think. So for the final segment of the show, I'm talking to a guy who underwent $80,000 worth of invasive surgery to be taller. People were saying he got a knee BL, a playoff of a BBL, you know, the popular butt enhancement surgery lots of women get. And he went from 5'5" to standing 6 foot even. And along the way, he faced never walking again, death threats from angry people online, and even had a major life realization. Here's my interview with Dynzell Sigers. Dynzell, I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much for the time.
It's no problem.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So let's just kind of remind people of what you went through. I mean, people were calling this everything from a knee BL, you know, I mean, just all sorts of things, but I just kind of want you to clear, you know, the smoke. What did you really undergo 2 years ago, December 2022?
So basically what I did was I broke all the bones in my legs to grow, increase in height. So basically they put a rod in my legs, they cut the bone in half, and then I stretched it out every day over a period of like 6 months. So I did my upper legs first.
You were cranking something. Can you, like, what was, you didn't feel that?
Yeah, but pain is like, I was in the military for 8 years and I went for special forces. So pain is like a mental thing for me. So basically the crank was you turn it and it stretches out the metal pole in your leg every day over like small portions so you don't overstrain the muscle, and you stretch that out over a period of 90 days for one surgery. I did it twice for upper and lower legs, so it was a total of 60 days, so 180 days, or 180 days, 6 months.
Of just cranking it. Okay. Hold on. Let's go back here. Okay. So first of all, I mean, how much does something like this even cost?
It was $40,000 per surgery, and I did surgery twice.
On the upper and the lower. Was there a
Yeah.
segment that hurt more than the other?
The upper definitely hurt more because there was more muscle and tissues for the rod to penetrate. The lower limbs had less tissue, but it was
Oh.
definitely a harder recovery.
Okay, Dynzell, I have a question because I know that you went all the way to Turkey for this surgery, but this is a procedure that does happen in the US, but why go all the way over there? Is it even more expensive? Was it a cost thing? What was
So
it?
it's here I would have only been able to get 3 inches and still paid $80,000. So it was like a common sense type thing
Oh,
to me. Like
wow.
I could get more height for the same cost.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so let's first of all, how tall were you back in 2022?
I was 5'5".
And what are you now?
I'm actually 5'11 and a half. After everything's said and done, I lost a half an inch.
So what happened? Like
So
you just so because I remember there was a time where they said that you went up to 6 foot,
mm,
and so you what just lost an inch and a half. How have you did you feel
it's
that?
just no, I didn't feel
Like,
it. I don't. I'm assuming it's just from because you got to remember, for the period of time that my bone was healing, it was just a rod supporting it. So I'm
right.
assuming like it could have lost a little bit of, but that's to be expected. So it could have
Of
lost a
course.
little height in there.
Uh-huh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Was that a little disappointing for you? Just short of the
No,
ideal
I
six. Okay,
really,
good. Because still
really.
a
So
huge difference. That's a huge difference. So, I mean, yeah, 6 inches. I mean, that's major. So my thing is this is like, how are you doing now?
I'm doing great. It actually it's funny. So I realized throughout going through this entire process, it wasn't necessarily the height. I just needed to heal. I was in a very messed up place mentally. I was in a bad relationship and it went terrible and it took a complete mental strain on me and man, made me look at myself different. It made me, for some reason, I would look in the mirror and my mind would just point out a million and one flaws. And after that relationship, I just wanted to be a better version of myself, like in every aspect, mentally, physically, spiritually. It was a whole process for me. So it was a journey of healing.
Yeah.
I say the good thing about it is I had so much time to myself, just focusing on recovery. So I had that time to really focus on getting my mental back together.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that because I feel like there's so many people right now going through the same things of just this negativity that they're surrounded in. And I feel like you see it just oozing out online and even the negativity that you get. I mean, because when I go through like your comment section on Instagram or something, like you'll see people who say, for example, oh yeah, your journey has been an inspiration. Where are you at, brother? Let's continue to share the journey. How are you doing? How are you healing? But then on the other end, you got people saying things like, bro is 6 foot with a 5'6" wingspan and things that are just so nasty and negative. I mean, like, how do you respond to things like that?
So I actually went dark completely. You're my first interview
Oh my God.
since
Thank you. First of
I have my reasons, but
Okay,
I've been dodging everybody, but I have my reasons. We'll discuss that later. But you're my first interview,
well, I
and
appreciate that.
maybe my last for a little while. But I am coming back to social media. I just took a break because I realized when I went viral, I was still in a dark place mentally. I was still recovering from a lot of things that I went through, and a lot of it was just a lot of clutter, like a lot of clutter. I couldn't figure out who I was. At the time, I didn't know who I was anymore. Like I was lost. So I took a break from social media to focus on getting my head together. And now, like, man, I could care less what people say. Like, I could care less what people say. I really could care less about this whole height journey, but it's made me stronger in every way that you could think of just because I had to tough it out. There was no running from the pain. There was no running from the recovery. I just
Yeah.
had to go through it. You know what I mean?
And
So
toughness,
as
I
far as
mean,
dealing with
yeah, toughness is part of who you are. I mean, first of all, serving in the military, thank you for your service. And yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I love that the resilience of it and everything and that opportunity to really reflect. But I want to go back into that dark period that you say kind of like forced you to go through this journey.
It was I was like I said, my mind was playing a lot of tricks on me at the time. Like I was just in a dark place. And it's not so much the person, it wasn't so much her, it was the fact that I allowed myself to be manipulated. So like
Mm.
it was crazy. I had never been in a situation like that.
Was
But
it? the person that was manipulating you, or were you just kind of in a
She
haze?
just played she played a lot of games with my mind. And me, I've been in a good amount of relationships, but I've never really, it's gonna come out wrong. I've been in
No, you don't
relationships,
want to
but I've
include
never,
something. You don't have to.
no, it's fine. I've been in relationships, but I've never really cared about anybody, like truly cared to the point where I put them before myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I put her before myself a lot. And I allow her, I changed myself to better fit what she wanted for a man. And it's funny because the more I changed into the man she wanted me to be, the less she liked me. It was,
That
yeah.
hurts. That hurts. I'm sorry you had to go
So
through that.
no, it's cool. I'm grateful for it because it taught me so much. I never changed myself for anybody else again. But basically, like I said, my mind was playing so many tricks on me because after being someone else for someone else so long, I didn't know who I was anymore. So my mind just kept giving me all this nonsense about, I don't like this about myself, I don't like that. And I was like, I couldn't understand what was wrong because all of a sudden I'm going through stuff that I went through like as a kid. Like, I mean, because I disliked my height when I was a kid, maybe up to the point of 12. And then eventually I just stopped caring.
Well, you
But
had said in
all of a
earlier
sudden,
interviews with other outlets that there was a crush that you had when you were a kid or something, and she rejected you because of your height. Is
so it's funny because half of that story got out. There was this girl.
okay.
It was more to it, but
Tell us.
there was
Yeah,
this
we want to
girl.
hear.
Yeah, there was this girl. She was a lot. Well, she was older than me. She was in 12th grade. I was in ninth grade, and I was crazy about her. And every time I tried to get at her, she shot me down. And one day, it was this trend when I was in high school where you go around and you record yourself telling like a man why you wouldn't date him. And her friend came up to me and it was like, "Yeah, you're too young and too short." And that was the day I really realized like, oh, I'm a short dude. Like, I hadn't given it much thought up to that point.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me for that rung in my head for a little bit. Eventually I got over it. And I ended up getting with her when I was in 12th grade and she
Oh,
had
okay. So
graduated
now
and
you
she
got to
was
tell us the beginning. Okay, that's the part of the story that
yeah.
never got out. Okay,
So
okay.
like it's a lot that never got out. Like,
Okay,
but
and
yeah,
that's
I
not
ended up
fair. I don't think that's fair either, because it's. But the thing is this: I know sometimes people are so limited and focused on the angle they want to get. But for me, I'm just like I'm a person. I want people to know the whole story. So
yes.
then we jump forward to this woman that you were truly in love with. Done with the puppy love. You're a grown man now, and this is somebody who is bringing out those past insecurities. And I just wanted to say this too, because I feel like a lot of people have this idea that you were never getting any chicks when you were 5'5", and then all of a sudden now the chicks started coming to you. And I want you to kind of clear the air on that a little bit. Like, were you still getting
So
chicks when you were 5'5"?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you something. It's funny. So I didn't do well with women as a kid. Maybe seventh grade things changed. Like I started because we were poor, so I couldn't really. I didn't have clothes like everybody else. I had hand me downs. I couldn't afford haircuts, so we were poor. No one really paid much attention to me. I started to find myself more so around seventh and eighth grade. That's when women were more attracted to me. High school is when I started making money, so I was able to keep up with my appearance, and
Yeah.
things were very well for me in high school. Uh, I did very well for myself with women, all the way up until the point where I got with the girl that I actually really cared about. And after her, I could still attract women, but I could not keep them to save my life. But because I wasn't myself,
Yeah.
I was the person that she created. You know what I mean?
That's
So
horrible.
yeah. So after her, no one really stuck around. Like I would attract them, and then they wouldn't really stay for long. Like it would be
What would be the cause of
consistent,
that?
short. I just like I said, I wasn't myself. I was trying so hard to be. She basically tried to turn me into this good guy. She tried to, and she did. I became a better man for her, or what she considered a better man, and it, they
But
just
the thing
women.
about this is like, changing your characteristics or something or changing your habits, your routine, like that's one thing. But to undergo an $80,000 procedure, that's like a whole nother thing. So for a lot of people, it'd be hard to kind of grasp like what gets someone to that point. And so I have
It
to ask,
was
yeah,
it
go
was
ahead.
meant as a mental bounce back. It didn't do what I thought it would do. But it was like one of those things. Like man, I'm coming out of a low point in my life. I'm not in a good place. All right, let me try to like get myself together, because what people don't realize is it was a series of things. Like I started focusing a lot more on myself. So I got in the gym. I
Yeah.
got the surgery. I was just doing everything I could that I could think of to like work on become a better version of myself for me,
Mhm.
instead of trying to be who someone else wanted me to be. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, when
And
you were done, did you ever go back to her? Or, I mean, does she know about your journey? Like, have you shared that with her?
she's
Have you guys
she's
talked?
she's called a few times, but you know, that's my past, and I don't go backwards.
That's fair enough. Okay, so looking back then, you made this major change, as a part of a healing journey, self-reflection, getting rid of past insecurities. Do you regret anything about this procedure that
No,
you went through?
no, this is the I was in, like I said, I was in the military. I went for spec ops, and when I got out, life was boring. This is one of the hardest things I've done, and I've loved every second of it, because it rebuilt me. Like the military made me one man, and then I was a broken man. Like I was mentally weak, and for me, mental weakness is just it's a death sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I take pride in being a man. I take pride in calling myself a man. And at that point in my life, I just didn't feel like one. So how hard it was, how long it took to recover, everything I had to do, I'm grateful for it, because it's like, man,
that's a
I
journey.
had to
That's a hell
re-earn
of a journey.
to myself. I had to re-earn my claim as a man. You feel what I'm saying? I had to
Wow,
re-earn it.
that's deep.
So I made the decision, and I would laugh at myself a lot, because it was a point where in the beginning I really started to question if I would walk again, because of all the negative
Oh my
criticism
God.
and everything everybody was saying, and a little research on it. But I would laugh, because I'd just be like, man, if I don't, I did it to myself. But at the same time, it's like, man, hey, look, y'all gonna have to show me I can't walk. I'm gonna give it everything I got,
And
and
you
we
did,
gonna
and
see
you're
what happens.
walking, and you're in the gym, you're doing leg day. That's my favorite day. I don't know what you
Oh,
were squatting. You doing that. You were doing some some leg presses, and it looked like you had at least 3 plates on each side.
4, 5.
4 or 5. Okay, let's hold on, talk your shit then. Pop off. No, I
Yeah,
like that. And people were really impressed by that as well, because height is something that's been a major insecurity in men, and it's been reinforced through the years, and it's made even worse, I feel like, in recent years. You get these people call guys who are shorter short kings, which I kind of feel is like kind of like a backhanded compliment.
I
You get
didn't
a
like
lot of
that.
that.
I didn't like being called
Can you
that. I
tell me
hate
how
it.
you feel about when you were being called a short king?
I didn't like that. Like I said, I didn't struggle with getting women, but I hated the short thing. I hated like that had to come up. I hated, the fact that it had to be pointed out that I was short.
Yeah.
And it would annoy me, but I would get over it. It didn't really affect me until the one female that she would always talk about how I'm the shortest man she ever been with. She's never dated a guy under 6'2". And I'm
Was
like,
this like something she said in the beginning, or is this something that just kind of like kept
she
going,
said it throughout
brought
the
up more?
course of us being together. She was just like, I'm not used to being with such.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And I'm like, why you with me? And she's like, no, I like you. And I'm like,
Do
but she
you?
definitely talked about my height a lot.
Oh my God, that is so horrible, because it's like when you love somebody and you're with somebody, then you're saying that you accept them as they are. And it seems like this person absolutely did not. And so let's talk about this a little bit, okay? Because obviously genetics are genetics, right? And
Mhm.
so, when you're dating somebody in the future, is this something that you would let them know about? I mean, obviously your journey has been like
I
popularized
mean,
all across social media, outlets, all of that. But is this something that you would tell somebody like, hey, like I'm pretty much 6 foot, but my genetics aren't really that of a 6 foot man. Like, is that something that, plays on your mind?
I don't really care if people know. I don't really intend on having kids. I have no intentions on getting married. I have no intentions on
No
my
intentions on
sole.
getting married, lover boy like yourself? Because I mean, why not? No marriage?
I've been married. It's not for me.
It's not for you. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
saw a recent video on your page where you had all of these girls around you and everything. I'm like, maybe that's for him instead. I don't know. What's that about?
It's funny because my whole thing is people don't understand me, but I'm solely purpose driven. Like I'm a man that sets goals, and that's all I can really focus on. So I spend majority of my time pursuing whatever goal I have. Like,
What's the goal right now?
so the goal right now, I've actually done very well in recovery, but it was recovery and learning and understanding social media. That's why I took a step back, because I was just shooting in the dark. I
Yeah.
wasn't a social media person before. So I started to learn and understand social media, learn and understand myself, find my voice, find who I am. and I'm giving music 100% and giving like just growing as a man 100%. Nothing that I do is a game or a joke to me, even though I might come off as playful sometimes because that's my character at times. Nothing I do is for fun. Everything I do is to get to where I'm going because I have very specific goals. That's what all this is. I have stuff all over my house where I write down and focus
Yeah.
100%.
I see
So
that, like behind you. Yeah, all of that
yeah,
writing and everything, which is really, I think,
so
important when you're trying to manifest things, is seeing it every day.
yeah,
This is what I'm doing.
I don't give dating much of my like I don't give dating much of my time right now just because my time is so precious.
Hmm.
And seconds equals dollars. So
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so let's talk about the music a little bit, since you mentioned, that's on the wall for sure, and you definitely making time for that. Like I saw you had some bars. Okay, and I love hip hop music. I was like, okay, like he got something in him. He got something in him right there. So can we talk a little bit
man,
about that? Like, what's your rap style? Where you hope to go with it?
I've actually, like I said, been developing my style, taking more time to myself in the dark. But as far as where I want to go, I plan on becoming the greatest. Anything I do, I have to be the best at it. That's anything I do, I have to be the best. It was the same way in the military. And I just give it 100%. And I believe with all my heart that God is backing any move I make. Any move I make, as long as I work at it long enough, hard enough, He backing me. So I just had to take time myself to figure that out. But like I said, I got plenty of goals. I started a business. I'm still, doing my other things on the side where I'm getting my money up. Cause by the end of the year, I told my mom I'd buy her a house.
Oh
I got
yeah,
on
mama.
my board. Yeah, I want another new car. So it's a lot that I want out of life. I want the finest things out of life,
I love
and
that. I
I want my
respect
mother
that.
to experience that.
You deserve those things. And
Yeah.
I love how candid you've been today, like on the show, because I feel like a lot of people are afraid to express their vulnerability and say, hey, like this hurt me, or this is what I've been going through, or I wasn't ready for social media yet. Cause I can't even imagine the firestorm that just like rained upon you when all of this was happening. Cause I know when I first discovered you, I was like, okay, like these people are going crazy in the comments. And as somebody who's gone viral before, like I know how ruthless people can be. And so I just kind of want to go back to that a little bit and just, tell me, like, I mean, what are some of the worst things that you've heard? I mean, I think one of the worst things that you said you heard was that you may never walk again, which is a really crazy,
Nah,
crazy thought. That would scare the hell out of
people
me.
were like, people was wishing death on me. People
Oh
was
my
wishing all
God,
type of stuff on me.
death?
Like, yeah, people was in my inbox, in my comments, hoping that I died, talking all kinds of
Hoping
stuff.
that
But
you died because you got surgery? Like, women get surgery all the time to enhance their
the
appearances. What's so
the
wrong when a man
funny thing
does it?
is, you would think that women would be with Gabe. The women were like in full support of me, like in my inbox,
Okay.
like fully supporting me, like, and the men were like going
Men,
crazy. Yeah, the men were going crazy, like, yeah, I hope you die. Yeah, you're an idiot,
hope
blah
you
blah.
die?
Yeah. And I got a
That's
lot of those. I got a lot of those. I got death. I got people threatening, like, don't ever let me see you. I'm like, what would you do to me?
I
I'm
find it
ready
so
to
weird
get.
that people can be so invested in other people's lives. Like I said, if women can get plastic surgery and nobody says anything, like why are you tripping if a man gets it? Like I don't understand that. And then why does that somehow equal I'm gonna kill you? Did any of
Well,
that ever like come face to face? Did you ever have like an actual real life like confrontation with
one,
these crazies?
I'll say I'm always prepared for any confrontation, so I'm not worried about that. But two, if I find it funny because the internet is a different world. You know this. You're on the internet. The internet is different from real life, and I
Oh yeah.
learned that, but because I'm like, I meet so many people. People approach me every day, even still to this day. Man, you so strong. You're an inspiration. You this, and I'm talking about everywhere I go, and I laugh because I'm like, I don't mind. It's cool. I'm not a super friendly person, and I've tried to be more open and friendly because I'm on social media now. But I'm not a friendly person that likes to talk to people. But
Yeah.
people approach me on regular, and I laugh because I'm like, I'm sure these are some of the same people that were like saying whatever they were saying. So,
You don't know who. That's the
but
thing about social media. They have a lot of like fake accounts and stuff, private accounts.
yeah,
So you never know if your biggest hater is actually the person who loves you the most, low key. Like you really don't know who these people are.
I got a lot of support in person. Like in person, people like I have yet to hear anything crazy. The craziest thing I heard in person was just like was nothing crazy. Just like why I don't get it. I've been told like I'm very attractive. I'm this. I'm that. And I'm like y'all don't understand. It was never about attraction. And it was never more so. It was never about getting with women. It was always about me trying to find a better version of myself. And after going through the mental that I went through, I realized I didn't really need surgery. I just needed to get my stuff together. But I'm glad I did it because, you know, we're gonna complain about height.
Okay.
And I do get a lot of compliments, and it is nice. It
It's
is very
nice.
nice.
So let me ask you this, okay? Because surgery, any kind of procedure like that, obviously come with like serious complications and risks. And so you have a lot of young people, I mean, children who are on social media who might look at you and say, dang, like, you know, they might be worried about their height or already be getting bullied like you got bullied when you were younger. And it's like, what would you say to those kids?
I ain't gonna lie to you. It was never my intent to. I never knew I was gonna go viral. I was just having fun, like
Yeah.
showing, like I was just posting stuff. I was never
Uh-huh.
even in social media. I didn't realize how crazy this was at the time that I did it. In my head, I was just like, I want to do this. I had no.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I'm like, bro, you're insane. You
Yeah,
are
you're one on
insane.
one right there. Yeah.
But I ain't gonna lie to you. I never, because so many it on the same end where it's men messaging me talking crazy. There's so many men telling me I'm an inspiration, I'm this and I'm that. The only disappointment that I have out of this whole thing is looking back over a lot of my content. It seems like I'm pushing this narrative that you need to go get surgery to have a better life. My life was good. I just had some downfalls, just like everybody else. You don't need hype for a better life. It's cool. I'm taller. I like it, but it's not. It's not what people think it is. Where I have an entirely different life now. It's just I'm back to my old self. But I never intended to
Yeah.
push so many people in this direction because I
Push
have
this
a million
narrative
blind
that
spots.
people are saying,
Yeah,
because what I guess some people how they read it was that being this short means you're not good enough, and so
yeah.
you
I
need to
never
do
meant
things
to.
like this.
That's also why I came off of social media because I really needed to find my voice and find myself because I'm like I never intended to tell. I don't want people thinking they're not good enough because they're short. Yes, you do get more criticism as a short man. You do have to work harder for your respect. In the military, I had to earn my respect. Growing up in Chicago, I was bullied
Mm.
until I earned my respect. I had to do things that I never should have had to do to get people to leave me alone. And I never wanted to push that narrative. I'll say that. But I tell people like this is something you if you do this, this is something you gotta really want.
Yeah.
You gotta want it. But I don't recommend it if I just don't recommend it because I have my reasons. A lot of the guys that I've talked to that have done it, reasons are very different, and they not all, but most of them regret doing the surgery.
Why do they regret it?
It's a big chunk of your life, and it's hard, and it's rare that you find. It's weird because I know a good amount of people that did surgery, and for some reason they don't work. They don't work like they'll never walk again. There's people who did it
Holy
before me.
God. Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Whoa.
people that did it before me and at the same time me that are still not walking, or
Oh.
still not walking efficiently, or still. But you have to. I tell them when they call me, I tell them I worked for this.
Well, you got that
I earned
Goggins
this.
in you. Like, who's gonna carry the boats? Like, that's
That's what I'm saying. Because the day I got the surgery, it was I got up and walked, and they were so confused with the things in my legs. I got up and walked the same day, and I was in a lot of pain. He was like, "It doesn't hurt." I was like, "Yeah," but in my head, I'm like, I'm the man that races to the finish line, and then before I hit the finish line, reaches back and pulls people with me. That's what I saw myself as.
yeah.
So, like I said, but it's been great for me. I just
Well,
don't
and
want
that's
to
the thing about
push that
surgery.
narrative
Like, you
anymore.
never know what could happen, right? And I think
Yeah,
for me, it would be even scarier going to, foreign country, getting that done. It's like, how are you going to get back home? Like, how long were you in Turkey after you got the surgery?
I was in Turkey 6 months.
Oh, so you had to get a whole visa. Like, what is that? What is that, a tourist visa? What kind of visa is that? What is that? No, for real.
Uh,
Is that like a
well,
tourist
I actually, so I
visa?
came
Like,
back. I came back home at right at my 90-day mark so that I could go back again and restart my passport visa. So I had to get a visa.
oh,
After 90 days, they charge you a good amount of money.
oh yeah.
I did go over the 90 days the second time though. So they charged me, they taxed me.
When you say
But
currency, what you talking about? And what's the currency over there?
they
Because
they
like
they charged me. Well, it's funny because in Turkey they use I can't remember the currency they use, but the facility I went through, they use euros, which is
oh,
more expensive than
oh yeah,
the USD.
not
So
going as
yeah,
far over there. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God. What did anybody go over there with you to help you, or was this just really a lone wolf journey?
The girl that I was with,
Oh.
we went our separate ways for a little bit. She played with my head a lot. I dated around more. Me and her ended up kind of coming back together. And I told her I was going to get, she's the only person I told I was going to get this surgery, the only one. And I told her to come with me. And because she used to do all this talking, she was the first woman to ever tell me she'd be by my side through anything, thick and thin. I had never had those conversations before, but she told me she'll be there. But when I actually needed her, she's like, nah, I don't want you to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it regardless.
Oh my God.
But understand this. The funny thing is, it's not that she didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
Because how dangerous it was. She didn't want me to do anything to improve myself. Like, she didn't like me in the gym. She didn't like me doing music.
So
She
was
didn't
she
like me.
herself? Then it almost sounds like, I don't want to assume.
Well,
I'm just like,
she later admitted to me that, she later admitted to me after finding out a lot of mental stuff that I went through. Like, when hearing my journey, she later admitted to me, like, I made her feel insecure because of who I was, because she saw me above herself. So she would try to pull me down, but she said it was unintentional. I'm like, man, that's manipulation to the max. I'm like, I never tried to make you feel anything other than, genuine companionship. But a lot of stuff she did and said to me was because she said I felt like I was better than her.
a lot of people deflect their own insecurities on other people. And so it's like, that's not a
Didn't
recipe.
know that at the time.
So when you were going through your journey of recovery, self-reflection, did you call upon like a therapist or anybody else to help you?
Nah, after that call with her, telling her I want her to come with me, and she refused, I told her I would take care of everything. She refused to come for any amount of time, like not a week, 2 weeks.
That she doesn't. No.
After that, I was like determined. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this surgery, and I'm gonna give it 100%, and I'm gonna do it by myself. And I'm glad I did it by myself because I had no one there to do anything for me. I had to push myself every single day. When I had to go to the bathroom. Yeah. When I had to go to the bathroom, I had to get
Oh my
up.
God, the bathroom? Like,
Yeah,
the BBL girls look like they have a hard enough time. Like, this is different. This is
man,
bones.
I was fighting like every day, and I loved it because I'm like, this is the hardest thing I've done since the military.
This definitely sounds like the words of a Navy SEAL, like a Navy guy. Like, what?
Like I said, I went for special force, and they trained me to think a certain way.
Yeah, but you were a medic in the Navy, so I mean, you were used to seeing this kind of, like, I mean, crazy injuries, horrific stuff, and so that you weren't very squeamish, I'd say.
Nah.
Wow.
But I definitely enjoyed going through it by myself because it pushed me. Even when I came home, I continued to do everything by myself, like just because I wanted to see how far I could push it. Like, a lot of people tell me I was crazy. Even like the things that I was doing in the gym, people see me doing things, they think I'm crazy. And I'm like, this is either, it's gonna sound crazy, but for me, it's either the life I want or death. I can't settle for anything else. It's either the life I want or I don't want to live anymore. And I don't mean like suicide or anything like that. I just mean like if it's an
option to, and this is how I see something that could improve my life, you're going for it. You're going for it full force. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's like all in, or it's all in. That's all I got. Like, with everything, every single thing I do is all in. It's 100%. Because then I learned that in the relationship with her, I gave her 100%, and I developed the mindset that anything that I do, at least I gave it 100%, and it just wasn't meant. At least I could say that I gave it 100%.
Well,
So
I just hope that you haven't given up on love and stuff. I mean, because I feel like, you started off as quite the romantic and believed in giving 100% to your partner. And now it sounds like, you don't have a place for that. I hope that you still leave some space for that in your heart, Dynzell.
It's not a thought. I don't think about love much. I don't think about relationships much.
I think everybody wants love. And I think as somebody as vulnerable and honest as yourself, I think that's the most human thing. That's the most basic human emotion, is like, aside from,
it is.
I mean, just hunger and love, just wanting somebody to share life with. And it sounds like you're somebody who's becoming a more complete person, as we all hope to be one day. And it's like, I mean, be real, Dynzell, like, come on. Really?
I don't think many people can handle my lifestyle. My lifestyle is like,
what's so special about your lifestyle? Like, okay, you're recovered now. You can work out. What the hell else is going on with you?
I'm on the grind every day, all day, every day. And most people can't keep. So now that, like, I don't give many people my time, not family, not friends. Like, my time is very, like, limited when it comes to other people, because I understand that, man, I hate to say this, my family, like, they're okay with where they are in life. So if I don't get where I'm going, if I don't get where I see in my head, I believe I'm the one to change the cycle. I believe I've done very well for myself, but it's not about me. It's doing very well for everyone. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
Well, that
that's
definitely
that.
sounds like the makings of a man. You're putting a lot on and you're taking a lot on. So I understand you've got
Well, that's what I'm here for. That's the role of a man.
yeah.
It's meant for me to bear the load so that they don't have to. And that's what I tell myself every day when I'm tired. It doesn't matter what I feel. I don't care if it's pain. I don't care if it's tired. I don't care if it's sick. Every single day, 7 days a week, I have to give 100% because who else gonna do it? And somebody said something to me that was very smart. It was like, if you don't do it, it won't get done. Like if you don't do it, the reason no one's doing it is because how hard it is. If I don't do it, if I can't bear the load, who gonna do it? Because my mindset is a little bit different than other people's. Most people are okay with settling with where they are. And I tell people, I'm like, people complain a lot about where they are in life. And I tell them the same thing. I say, your life is a reflection of your thoughts, your actions, the things that you chose to believe, the things that you chose to accept.
Yeah.
My life is a reflection of me. My life is a reflection of the things I've chose to believe, the things I've chose to accept. I chose to push myself and give 100%. And my life is a reflection of that. I believe I'm not a religious man, but I do believe in God. And I believe that you just got to do the work and God going to give you the how, because that's how I've gotten to where I am today. That's how I got to where I could afford the surgery. That's how I got through the military. You just got to do the work. You don't have to know how. You just have to go. And that's it.
It's important. A lot of people don't do that, and a lot of people are they hold grudges and they make excuses, and because they're looking at somebody else accomplishing things, and they're like, oh, they have to make up a reason why they're doing it or how they cheated because they themselves aren't willing to put in the hard work. So that's definitely something that I respect about you and also can relate to. Wow, Dynzell, is there anything else? I've got like 3 minutes left here. Is there anything else that you want to share with my audience on the show? Anything?
Not much. I
Not
will
much.
admit
Okay.
to
Well, you
you.
said that you don't talk too much anyway. So, I mean, you've been talking a lot
I
right
have
now, so I'm
I've
grateful.
I've voiced myself a lot like throughout this process just because I want people to understand my mind better. But I also had to calm down because I'm still understanding my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to be mindful because people are literally telling me there's people in my inbox that telling me they're living off the things that I say. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I have to be more thoughtful with what I say
You just got to live within
because
yourself. You have to put your best self forward. You can't live for all these other people. And it's sad, because they probably need some help too. But I hope you don't, have too many loads to carry. Like that's a lot for one person to take on.
I love it. I love it. I
No,
love
but
it
you
so
need
much.
to. I know you want to give 100% every day, but I know you can take 5% sometimes and have a little spa day or some
Oh
relaxation.
no, I definitely believe in treating myself.
Okay, good. You said you
I
like the
treat
finer
myself.
things. Yeah.
I treat myself very well when I do. Like I travel a lot. I always travel. I'm always somewhere. I'm always. I come from nothing, so I've adapted to the finer things of life. I can't accept anything less because I like the finer things of life. So yeah, I do treat myself very well. Like
Good. So
I
I
think
mean,
my
I've
last.
got a little bit of time left. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to start a whole new meeting and send it to you. I didn't
Oh,
realize
go
that
go
you
ahead.
sent it. No, I don't mind talking to you. I don't want to hold you, but I'll talk to you all day. But my thing is I was gonna ask you, since I'm a big travel person too, like what's the next big adventure for you?
Uh, I'm figuring out now. There's only a few places I haven't been. I haven't been to Dominican Republic. I haven't been to Jamaica. I haven't been
Have you
to
been to
Virgin Islands.
Bali?
I haven't been to Bali, but that wasn't
Exactly.
even
So
on
it
the
ain't a
list.
couple places then. I'm like, get on to Southeast Asia and money goes really far out
Yeah,
there too. I love it.
it's not many places I haven't been, but that's one of them.
Well,
Well, that's a
for
few of them.
work
So,
as I mean, you're going around a lot. I mean, working in the military. I mean, yeah, you see a lot, I imagine.
yeah. And then I just continued traveling once I got out. That's something I developed a passion for. So I treat
Awesome.
myself very well.
I love that. I love that. And you're feeling good, legs good. We got less than a minute. Everything good.
I'm running, jumping.
That's what we
The
like.
world just hasn't seen me yet.
We love that.
I'm keeping it to myself.
That's what we like to hear, Dynzell. Well, I am definitely pro Dynzell. I'm here for your journey. I want you to do everything that you set your heart out to do. Just, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for talking to me. This has really been amazing. And I know people are going to love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dynzell. All right. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Keep your
I
heart
will.
open for that good love is coming.
I will.
All right, guys, that's all for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you rate, review the podcast, all of that great stuff, and let me know what you think. All right, guys, that's all for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you rate and review this podcast wherever you listen and watch. I really appreciate all of your feedback. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll see you back here next Thursday.